Follow the wind. Tja! Tja! Ha!
Oh, Nervalette and Risley, they're here too.
Good to see you, traveler. Paimon. I trust all has been going well for you?
Big news, everyone. The Udex is out of his office on important business. Why wouldn't they?
Ah, yes, you're quite right. When someone you care about requires emotional support, being there for them at the right time and place is of the utmost importance. After reading the Maréchal Phantom's reports, I had a feeling a trip here might be in order.
Take note. That, my friends, is how Monsieur Nervalette shows that he cares. We're both here for the same purpose, actually, to accompany Sijwin as she pays her respects to her late teacher.
So the old friend she mentioned was her teacher then? Oh, sorry. Paimon didn't mean to be rude. It's only because Sijwin calls her that all—
I doubt she considers that title to be offensive.
Indeed. In fact, I believe Sijwin would take it as a sign of affection. In those days, many people harbored prejudices against Melusines. She was the only teacher willing to take Sijwin on as a student.
Wow. It's really nice of you two to be here for Sijwin. Guess you guys really look out for your younger colleagues, huh?
Younger colleague? Well, that might be true for the Udex, but I'm not sure I can say the same. Sijwin served a sentence in the fortress of Meropid hundreds of years ago, and after she did her time, she decided to stick around. Strictly speaking, the head nurse has been around longer than most people in the fortress.
She served a sentence?
Yes. Long before I became Udex, there was an ancient law in Fontaine that prohibited any attempt to transform another species into a human. Initially, I and most researchers believed this law to have been imposed due to ethical concerns. But now, it seems more likely that the law was nothing more than an insurance policy, a way for Egeria to ensure that her people would remain insulated from the truth. Thus,
ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Sijwin had her reasons for choosing to obtain a human form, but the act was nonetheless in clear violation of the law.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what happened back then?
Certainly. Sijwin does not object to her close friends learning about her history. In fact, I first learned of it myself because she confessed the truth to me.
Even with their daughter so ill, they kicked you out? Stubborn as always. And shame that I don't have the energy to get over there. You're laughable, you old witch.
Master,
I discovered a strange disease, one I suspect that every Fontanian suffers from. But without witnesses or proof, no one will believe me. I had no choice but to experiment on myself to find a cure, but I hit a wall.
Then I'll find a cure for you, and then you can go cure her.
There's no need. I am beyond saving now. There's nothing you can do.
But, Master?
As I said before, a doctor's duty is to treat whatever ailments they can.
I know.
That girl.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Even if it means breaking the law and be—
As long as I don't hurt anyone.
Then I shall make one more final gamble. If I am able to work this miracle, then I will have found a way to save all Fontanians. And if not, then it means there is one more disease in this world that I cannot treat. I will leave you a parting gift. An accidental discovery happened upon through my study of this strange disease.
When Sijwin returned, the miracle had not occurred. She found a potion bottle and a note on the table. After using the potion as instructed, she gained her current form, breaking Fontaine's law in the process. And after I had confirmed the veracity of the events, I gave my verdict.
So that's what happened.
I fear Sijwin only understood the full story after the truth about the dissolution of Fontainians was uncovered. When I reflected on all this with that knowledge in hand, I felt a deep sense of regret. After the final details of the events surrounding Sijwin's transformation came to light, I checked several sources and, thankfully,
Wonder how she feels about all this.
since she invited you here, I imagine she intends to speak of these matters with you, no?
You're here. The old friend I mentioned was my teacher. When she passed, her body was nowhere to be found. Sijwin, the witch who gave you the magic potion, she was your teacher, wasn't she? Sounds like Monsieur Neuvillette filled you in. After learning the truth, it must have been hard to process, huh? Well, to be honest, after I realized what really happened that night, but she was planning to sacrifice herself and never... That's just who she was. If lying is what it took to get a kid to take their medicine, then that's what she'd do. Alright, but why did you turn yourself in? I broke the law, simple as that. My teacher made her choice, and I made mine. True. It's just... the way Potton framed it when he was asking you all those questions, it made Paimon really mad. You're not like him at all, and everything Neuvillette said confirms that. And yet, you were still convicted and thrown in prison. Unfair? I happen to think just the opposite. If I hadn't served that time, I'm not sure I would have been able to stay strong when he was questioning me. What makes you say that? I knew you'd be curious. Let me tell you a story. The verdict came down. This Melusine is guilty. The Iudex defended the authority of Fontaine law, but he did not confiscate the Melusine's medical kit. And so, the fortress of Meropid gained a new little doctor. She still wore her hood and raincoat, even though it never rained in the fortress. Perhaps thanks to her human appearance, no one refused her treatment. She treated more and more patients, and her sentence grew ever shorter. Finally, the people of the fortress could not live without her, and though her sentence ended, she did not leave them either. Then one day, she received an invitation from the outside world. The location seemed familiar, and when she arrived, an old lady was waiting for her. She saw right through the Melusine's disguise, but didn't reveal it. Instead, she asked a question.
Tell me, why do you think you gained the respect of so many people, despite being a Melusine?
Because I look like a human?
It's been 50 years, Sijwin, and you haven't aged a day. I think everyone knows you are not human. I finally found you, after all these years. I still remember, you know. It was you who saved me that night.
But how? I was no longer a Melusine by then.
Does it really matter if you're human or Melusine? I remember the warmth of your palm. It's quite unmistakable. And you know what? It hasn't changed one bit. You don't have to hide anymore, Sijwin. These days, everyone wants to make friends with Melusines. And I think that it's all because of you. I'm sorry I couldn't say this until now, but thank you, Dr. Melusine.
Now that's an ending Paimon can get behind. After hearing everything Potten said, I wanted to tell him that it didn't matter who he looked like on the outside. I tried to treat him, but the roots of his problem had nothing to do with his face. I understand. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, there's one more reason I invited you here. In order to restore the appearances of the face-swapping victims, the Marishose Phantom gave me special permission to make a few bottles of that potion. We don't need it though. Well, even if you chose to destroy it, I still thought I should give it to you first. Well, fair enough, but anyway, still, if this is the very last bottle in all of Tevat, Melusine physiology wasn't affected by the Great Flood, right? So that means the potion should have a permanent effect after all, from a Melusine point of view. Paimon bets Melusines look the cutest of all! Paimon, after everything, do you really think it matters whether I'm Melusine or a human? What was Paimon thinking? You made up your mind a long time ago! Leave it to me. I'd like to stay here with my teacher for